Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to be looking at Bitcoin and its valuations against the US dollar, and finally, how it has dropped 8.5% to date and has gone as low as, I believe, 10%, 11.61% wicked down. Remember, if you do like this video and the other videos that I make on this channel, be sure to hit the like button down below and also consider subscribing. So here we are. We had this symmetrical triangle drawn since last week, and we were looking at the movements and contemplating whether, well, it can break out to the upside, to the downside, or this triangle can be invalidated and it can continue moving sideways. At this moment in time, it seems like it's going to break down. If there is a possibility that Bitcoin regains, the buyers buy up the orders to bring it up above the line. We saw this many times. I mean, like, this is a very good example of that. Wick all the way down past, gets bought up back up into the triangle. Um, we could very well see this happen here. Uh, it's early in the morning. I mean, anything can happen. But if if it doesn't, then I would expect further downward movement. And another thing to take into consideration is the 20-day moving average. We don't usually talk about this moving average because it's not as important, it's not as clear cut. But as of recently, and recently I mean since beginning of December, we have made contact with the 20-day moving average, using it as support to keep up the price and keep it from going down. As of yesterday, we've broken past that 20-day moving average right here. So that is something to keep in mind. All right, that is something to keep in mind. You can use in these cases, to see, like, okay, the 20 days broke. What is the next target? You can use something like a ribbon. I don't even have it uh, favorited here, but just like a MA ribbon where it creates a band, so to speak, and then you can set the parameters here. So in this case, this general ribbon, this is not the one that I use, but you have the 50 EMA and the 100 EMA and everything in between, right? In this band. So you could say that the next target should be down to the 50 EMA or MA moving average. That would be the first one, and everything in between this could be used as support to keep up the price. To just kind of look at where the 100 EMA is, it's at $24,000. Now, $24,000 to me isn't as significant, but consider the fact where we are in regards to the 20-week moving average. The 20-week moving average, I believe, is still at around 19,000, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 19,004. So, in order for us to get down to the 20-week, which I think is the first major line, like, well, the last major line of support, I guess, before, if it does break through, highly likely that the party gets postponed. It's a 40% drop, which is pretty insane. So we still have considerable amount of room in the 20-week from the 20-week moving average to make me believe that it's very possible that we could be looking at certain daily moving averages like the 50-day or the 100-day, or possibly, I believe the 200-day is at, where is it? At 16, 17. Okay, so not 19,000. So the targets would be the 50-day, 100-day, I think, are the next lines of defense in regards to this. Now you can also plot in, the 20-week moving average within the daily chart. You just multiply 7 times 20, and you get 140, and then you can plot the 20-week onto the daily chart, and you can see that right here. and you can see how much room there is between the price and the 20-week moving average. So at this point, I'm not concerned. Yeah, it's an 8% drop. It could possibly be more, um, but 10% drops you can handle because you didn't buy at the top, or I certainly haven't bought at that top, and I'm not looking to buy here at 32. My only target really with buying Bitcoin again would be the 20-week moving average. That would be the only reasonable place for me to consider buying. So keep that in mind. These are good lessons, and I've talked about this with altcoins. I've talked about, and I'll talk about it with Bitcoin. When you buy at the top, or when the risk is, vividly high, you run the risk of short-term downturns like here, and then you get stuck, right? Um, you can obviously average down if the price continues to fall, uh, or you can wait for a better buying entry. I mean, it's entirely up to you. Uh, for people though, keep in mind when you're buying up here that there are people like me and others who have bought at this level, and they're either they're either selling your bags to you, or simply are able to stomach the loss from the top. I mean, if we measure from the top to where we are now, it's about a 20% drop. So we can stomach that a lot easier than someone who's bought, you know, up here and now is experiencing a 20% loss and no gain. So keep that in mind, you guys. This isn't necessarily something to be concerned about. We were talking about, we were all talking about potential downturn with Bitcoin. We talked about it. I said around maybe $50,000 might be the top for Bitcoin. Considering that the technicals of the RSI and how overbought we would become, we would be at 100. And also considering the distance between the moving average, the 20-week moving average would be considerably high, be somewhere near about 2017 levels. So, uh, nothing to be concerned about yet. Yes, this is going to break down, but we can argue that this could be expected, especially, and you can also argue that this isn't expected. This, you can interpret this as a bull flag, and this should be, in theory, a continuation. Didn't happen. Didn't happen, and that's why you shouldn't always necessarily rely on triangles as much, right, as just finding good positions to buy in. I mean, like, here's a great example. So this is a symmetrical triangle, right? We talked about the same thing with Ethereum. And we saw, a very similar pattern. Shoot up in price, consolidating, and a continuation. These are two circumstances, two different coins that we see that had the same pattern and had, different results. So, um, don't always rely on one thing. Look at the bigger picture. That's what I believe. Anyway, that's all for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.